Hello and welcome back for another episode of Wake Up and Dream. We're so glad you guys are joining us. Wow, it has been an amazing 2023 already. I can't even believe it. We are into the third episode of season 2, which is super exciting. And if you have missed the first 2 episodes, you guys don't hesitate to go back, even re-listen, but you don't want to miss it. Just want to do a little recap because Lisa did a powerful episode on the Wheel of Life. It is a great way to start your year to just kind of check in with yourself, see where you are, how are things lining up with relationships, with your health and wellness, friendships, all the things. We also have those posted in our Facebook group. If you haven't joined us there and Wake Up and Dream, we'd love to have you there as well to just dive deeper into these subjects. And Lisa spoke a little bit about not feeling guilty either. Don't shame yourself if you rate yourself a 2 or a 3 in any categories. This is just becoming aware of where you are. And we're going to take you through this journey and lead you into feeling powerful and confident in your goals and in your future. So Lisa just kicked that off for us in the new year. And Sarah last week talked a lot about future memories and what a goal could look like for you and changing your behaviors behind a goal. You can't just lose 10 pounds. A lot of people have that New Year's resolution and, I just want to be healthier, but there's got to be a deeper meaning and a deeper feeling behind a goal. So I just want to check in also with our listeners, like who has started a New Year's resolution? Who created a new goal? A lot of us in our community, we like to choose a word that carries us through the year because as we all know, sometimes New Year's resolutions don't make it past the end of February. Because why? Because we get frustrated. We just we fall behind and then we beat ourselves up. Or we have a cheat day and then, I'll just have more wine, more cookies. I'll start again on Monday. And you just don't stay focused. So you feel like you failed. And that's where I want to dive in today. That feeling is the secret. If you don't have the strong foundation with how you feel about your goal or your word that might have been revealed to you for the new year, you won't stay aligned with it. You're not going to see results. And I just kind of go back to this feeling of when I was in high school, even college, I had that burning desire, that feeling to do well in school, to get good grades, to excel in the sports that I was participating in. And I would do anything and everything to better myself. If it meant, getting a tutor or help with a counselor, if it meant, private lessons in tennis, like I had that desire. And a lot of us women do for the first couple decades of our life, let's say, where we start to dream, right? Maybe middle school-ish, where like people start asking you what you want to be when you grow up, and you start dreaming about that. Like at one time, I wanted to be a marine biologist. That was something I wanted to do. I wanted to swim with the whales out in the ocean. But then, life happens and you get introduced to new experiences and new feelings, but you still have that goal and that desire and those strong feelings to catapult you forward, to do what is required of you, even when you don't feel like it. Like I didn't feel like filling out 10 different college applications and writing essays and applying for scholarships, but I knew that I needed to do that to get where I wanted to be at that point as an interior designer. It was required and I was passionate about it because I knew what I wanted and I had that strong feeling behind it. And so then you kind of fast forward to the next couple decades of your life and we do get into our careers. We get married, we start a family, bills start to pile up, issues arise, setbacks, disappointments. And then what? What do us women do? There was no class in college that said, hey, when you're 40, this is going to happen. You're not going to feel inspired, motivated, or confident, but this is what you do, right? This is where it requires us as humans, as strong women that all of us are. You guys, you were strong at one time. You were. I know you were. We all were, and we got to dig into deep into our souls and our hearts to find that feeling again. One, because you owe it to yourself. Two, if you have children, they're counting on watching you get through these struggles and still go for those dreams and those goals that mom wants. And even if you're married or your spouse, they're counting on you. I had this realization yesterday that my husband married a strong, confident, independent woman. But over time, with some things that are going on with our infertility journey and life craziness, I had to sit down with myself and ask myself, do I have that same feeling? Am I showing up as that person still for him today? And if I was honest, it was a no. And this was in real time yesterday, literally like, oh my gosh, like, if issues do come up, no wonder there's this thing, because we have these expectations of each other and you're not showing up for the person that you thought that did, but that's where the growth comes in. That's where having a huge goal or a word in your life that keeps that burning desire going, and that feeling, you got to have that feeling that drives you towards what you really want for the next 2, 3, 4 decades of your life. And so finding that feeling takes a little work. Again, we're going to kind of dig in a little bit, taking the wheel of life a little bit deeper today. So you've ranked yourself and how you feel about marriage and your health and wellness and you as a mother or in your career, right? Now I want you to really dig in, and there will be in our Facebook group, I will have some docs that you can print out for yourself that you can really work through and go through your relationships with your kids, with your grandkids, or how you view money. And what would a 10 look like? But what would it feel like? What is that feeling to have extra savings in the bank if that's your money goal? Like, what would it feel like to be able to take your entire family on a trip every year to the lake? What would it feel like? Because that's the other thing too that you need to feel is, what does money feel like if that's your category that you're kind of honing in on, or where you live? What does it feel like? What is important? Is it being able to get out of debt? Is it to send the kids to college? Is it to buy a beach house? What is it about money, if it's a money goal, that inspires you and that it's going to get you up out of bed every day? So if your goal, to kind of break it down a little bit, if your goal is to have $5,000 extra in your bank account every year, well, for what, right? Like, what's the feeling behind that? What are you going to do with that money? Okay, take your kiddos or your grandkids on a trip. To where? What is everybody wearing? What is the weather like outside? I'm just thinking, Disney, or maybe you're camping. When I say camping, I can see the stars. I get goosebumps because I can see the stars. I can see the evergreen trees. I can even hear like maybe crazy like coyotes in the background. I can hear the crackling of the fire. I even see 5 logs of wood stacked on top of each other. Like, this is where you get to the feeling of a goal, because that's what's going to get you out of bed to save that $5,000 is the smell of the s'mores, the laughter of the kiddos by the campfire. This is what's important in a goal, and to feel whole. You guys, this is where Lisa, Sarah, and I have come together. Like, we want women to feel empowered in their life, not just living on repeat or Groundhog Day or living what we call by default. Like, yep, this is what marriage is. Yep, this is what my friends talk about raising their kids is like. They struggle just like me, so that's normal. It's not normal. Like, it doesn't have to be like that. You can change the world with your burning desires, with a labor of passion, which was just something incredible that we experienced today with one of our guests that you'll be able to hear soon. And it's just, you find that again, right? You had it before. Let's find it again with those feelings and that burning desire wrapped around a goal, because losing 10 pounds, getting out of debt, strengthening your marriage, better relationship with kids, that's not going to motivate you. That's not going to get you out of bed every day. You have to take it to almost the third and fourth level to find the true feelings of improving your marriage means what? How is that going to feel? What is that going to look like in front of your kids? What is your best friend going to now think? Like, oh, you might actually be inspiring someone else based on your journey that you're experiencing through setting the most powerful goal you've ever set in your life. And that is living your life by design and not by default, which is something our coach just expresses almost on a daily. And it hits me differently at different times and different, seasons. And it is like when you start to feel like, just don't want to give anymore. Like, this is just what it is. I've tried this. I've tried that. There's more. You can do it. And we're here to support you in that journey. And so I just want to hear from my girls here, Lisa and Sarah, maybe what your now goal is, or not even what the goal is, but just the feeling and why that's so important to you in maybe the progress you've made or that you're about to make in 2023. Miss Lisa, what do you have for us today?
Well. So I had this call with a financial coach that we all know, and she helped me. So I want to talk about like different options on how to peel back the onion, because we can do it ourselves, but I think we're made for connections. So if you have a good friend, or even one of us, like, reach out to one of us and say, I want to go deeper. I want to go deeper into what's really important to me. Because this friend slash coach, she asked me what I saw my life, where I wanted to, what was important to me. And I told her that creating experiences with my kids and having experiences with friends was top. Like, it's not about getting a new house. It's not about having the fanciest kitchen. It's not about getting the latest, fashion. It's about experiences for me. And so she said, so tell me about that. And so it was like I had this space. She was holding space for me to get in touch with my inner most important desires. And I think that's what we want to do for our listeners. That's what we want to do. We want to help you, hold space for you to be able to do that. Because as I was telling her, I have a friend out in Colorado, and I'm gonna go see her in this fall. I'm gonna see the aspens in the fall. And as I shared and heard it come out of my mouth, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing. Like, I could see myself hiking and see myself taking in the beautiful trees and the mountains. I've never been to Colorado, Kelly. So
You're going to love it. It's so pretty.
so it's having that space, because sometimes I know for me, if I were to coach myself and ask myself that question, okay, so what's important to you, Lisa? And then I would go, well, travel, creating experiences. And then if I ask myself, so why is that? I think my answers just fall flat. There's something about sharing it and speaking it out loud to someone else that I mean, my emotions were evoked. And I think we are so into, check it off the box. Okay, they say I have to dig to see what my desires are, feel it. And it's just going to be like, I got to get this done. And we don't allow ourselves. So I think, journaling is another powerful way of digging into the why. $5,000, is it because you want to have that for the kids for college? That's an important value. Or is it that you want to create experiences? Like there's a lot you can do with $5,000, but getting to the heart of why that's important, I think is what we're talking about here.
Right. And not limiting yourself based on, oh, that'll never happen, or we don't have enough money for that, or I can't see myself doing that. But when we create these feelings attached to a goal, I want to remind our listeners, do it where time and money is not an issue. Don't
Yeah.
think about, well, never going to have a beach house in Florida. Like, that's just not ever going to happen. Well, it's not if that's what your mindset is telling you, but just dream. Just start writing things down, journaling with what's coming up. If the world was your oyster once again, and you're trying to decide what you want to be when you grow up, like just write it down. Whatever, like if I still want to be a marine biologist, I'm going to write it down. Like it doesn't matter. Just put it on paper and just start dreaming without the restrictions of time or money holding you back, because then you can go through and kind of weed through what's most important for you. I think is super, super key.
So, Kelly, as you're speaking all of these truths, I drove my son to school Monday morning. One of my sons has extra help. So we were talking on the way, and we were talking about the sun and the planets, and I don't know how, I mean, it's a 5-minute drive and it got really deep real quick. But we were talking about just the universe and all of these things. And he was like, "Well, mommy, I know you just changed jobs, but could you be a scientist?" And I was like, "I could be." And he's like, "Well, what would you need to do?" I was like, "Well, I would have to just go back to school and start taking action to become a scientist." I was like, you could be and do whatever you want, whenever you want. It doesn't matter. There's no timing." And it's funny because I feel like when talking to children, you always give them the permission to dream, the permission to just think, like what you're saying, Kelly. Don't worry if there's anything else, like anything getting in your way. There's no, just put it down on paper. Just get your imagination going, these dreams going, and you give your kids permission to do that. But as somewhere along the way, along that path that Kelly was explaining, you stop. And if think about that question, if you were to get that question from your child or from someone else, like, could you go back and do this? Don't just immediately say, no, you can't, because you're already on this path. You absolutely can. It does not matter where you are in your life. It does not matter your age or anything else. If you put your mind to something and you want to make it happen, you can make it happen. And I just, when you were talking about all of this, I was like, wow, like it didn't even dawn on me when we were having that 5-minute conversation on the way to school, how powerful that actually was, not just for my son, but for me. The fact that I don't know that I would have answered that question in that same way 2-3 years ago. But now I do see that you really can do anything. Anything is possible.
And anything is possible. That seriously makes me want to cry, because it is, again, setting the example for the kiddos that, hey, when I'm a dad, in your son's instance, one day, or I'm a mom, like I don't have to stop dreaming. Like setting the
Right.
example is so important. So
It's
important. Like,
so
oh, mommy's
important.
going to chase another dream and this is going to be great. And we're going to encourage her and we're going to love on her and she's going to love on us. And that's just so, so powerful. I love that. So good.
Wow. It reminds me of, I think one of the gals in our coaching group said it, but I'm going to make a plaque of it. Excuse the messy house, mama's chasing her dreams. Like that is
Love it.
it. That is it. Why do we think that, we're too old to dream, or, we just have to, survive the day, or just be
Right. Or we're too
satisfied,
busy. I got too much going
busy.
on to go back to school or to write this book or to start this new fitness plan. Where would I fit it in? You
Right.
can. If you have
Oh,
that
yeah,
burning desire and those deep feelings, anything's
definitely.
possible.
And just to round everything out here, I mean, feeling is the secret. If you just do this with your head and forget your heart, it will fall flat. That's what New Year's resolutions, that's what the should goals are. Those are just the head, right? I should lose 20 pounds. I should leave this job that I hate. I should whatever. But that's just our head, and we get trapped in our head. Our head wants us to think about all the logic. And what Kelly has encouraged us to do is get in touch with your heart, get in touch with your feelings, allow yourself to dream without, like, literally putting your head over here, like putting your head over on the shelf for a moment, and just let your heart soar, because that's where dreams live. Dreams, yes, the how to of, all the things that we need our head, obviously. But when we're coming to our deepest desires and what is most important to us, we have to literally put our head on the shelf and not allow it to play a role in that conversation. So excited for us to connect in the Facebook group. This is where we're supporting you. This is where you can get more help. You can even set up a call with one of us and say, hey, I just want to dig through this dreaming idea because I'm not really good at it. I know Sarah, Kelly, and I, that was our story. Like, we didn't know how to dream. We lost that ability, so to speak. It happens. So we're here for you. Be sure to check the show notes for our Facebook group under the same name, Wake Up and Dream. And I can't wait to see and listen and hold space for you to be able to really wake up and start dreaming. Until next time.